The January transfer window is open, and for Arsenal it's a big opportunity, a chance to truly solidify their title charge, and they are making moves. So today we'll get a massive update and find out how close are they to signing Mykhaylo Mudryk, get the latest on Joao Felix, find out what's happening with the future of William Saliba, and get all of the team news as Arsenal go head to head with Newcastle. Yo, what is going on, guys? My name is Babs14 and welcome back to your boys channel. I hope you guys are doing sensational in 2023 and the Transfers FC is back. I'm excited, you should be as well, and as per, if you enjoy the content, don't forget to smash a like and also subscribe to the channel if you are new and help your boy on his road to 150,000 subscribers. But let's start off with the breaking Arsenal news. Arsenal centre-back William Saliba has played a massive part in making Arsenal contenders for the Premier League, and this graphic here shows it, which showcases the pressing intensity and defensive line of every team in the Premier League. And on the top right side, it's Arsenal and Man City going neck and neck. Not only are Arsenal aggressive in the press, but the defensive line is so high, it allows Arsenal to sustain pressure, to pin teams in. And this is allowed because of William Saliba, who's got fantastic recovery pace and is fantastic in 1v1 defending. And as Saliba says, one must dream of a Premier League title. That is what we play for. Who may have been shaky recently, but at 21 years of age, the potential is undeniable. And Arsenal have been trying to negotiate a new contract. And as confirmed by David Ornstein, Arsenal have activated the option to extend centre-back William Saliba's contract until 2024. Talks will continue with the club and Saliba over a new long-term contract. Now, Saliba's original contract was actually meant to expire in this upcoming summer of 2023, but Arsenal had an automatic option to extend, and of course they were going to activate it. But in terms of the actual long-term contract that Arsenal are trying to agree, it is still being negotiated, and some Arsenal fans are starting to get a little bit worried. Why is it taking so long? Why is it not being agreed? But Saliba is settled in London. He's confirmed on numerous occasions that he's happy, and even Mikel Arteta believes it's only a matter of time before a new long-term contract is signed. But let's talk transfers, the return of Transfers FC, and starting off in Barcelona, as reports claim Barcelona must reduce their wage bill by at least 200 million euros. A big departure is needed. Barcelona and finances, they don't go hand in hand, and they need to sell a player ASAP. But in terms of who that player could be, there are a lot of rumours, but the main person in question is Ferran Torres. And that's where enter Arsenal, as according to reports in Spain, Arsenal have interest in signing Ferran Torres in the winter market, and the English club would be willing to offer £43 million for the player. Now, Ferran Torres only signed for Barcelona this time last year, and he cost them £45 million, so it makes sense why Barca wanted a similar sort of money, and in just half a season he was able to get himself 17 goals and assists. But this year that's dropped to 6. He's not starting as many games, and he looks like he's going to be available, but in terms of Arsenal and signing him, while I like the profile and the fact that he can play versatile and play down the middle is definitely appealing, but I just think there are other better options. So keeping it in La Liga, let's talk Joao Felix, as David Ornstein confirms that Atletico Madrid are ready to loan Joao Felix. Both Arsenal and Man United are the main contenders, with both expressing firm interest, but at nowhere near the €21 million package Atletico are currently looking for. €21 million with no option or obligation to buy for just 6 months. Joao Felix is a tremendous talent, and under Arteta he could become something special, but for that sort of price tag Arsenal will go nowhere near it. But as David Ornstein confirms, Felix is still in contact with Partey, and the loan fee will have to be reduced significantly for a move to be possible at Arsenal. Arsenal see this move like the Odegaard loan. I can see exactly why Mikel Arteta wants him, and without Gabriel Jesus he would give Arsenal another centre forward option. And as we have seen with Martin Odegaard, who we signed on a loan transfer with no option to buy, it was almost a trial basis for Arsenal to understand what he was about, to see how he would fit into the team dynamics, and then they went on and signed him. In the case of Joao Felix, Arsenal are simply waiting, and with his agent being George Mendes, with Felix actively wanting to leave, I think it's more than possible for that price tag to be reduced, and then Arsenal might make an offer. But the main target of course is Mykhaylo Mudryk, who has just been named the 2022 Shakhtar Player of the Year. To do that at 21 years of age, to shine in the Champions League, this guy could become something special. And according to his ex-manager and current Brighton boss, Roberto De Zerbi, Mudryk can win the Ballon d'Or. The hype is certainly building, but in terms of the player himself, his desire is as obvious as day. He wants to sign for Arsenal Football Club, recently posting an Arsenal goal in his story, then posting Mikel Arteta during the Brighton game. And now, according to reliable reports in Ukraine, Mudryk has agreed personal terms on a 5-year contract at Arsenal as the clubs continue negotiations. Arsenal and Mudryk have an agreement, and I'm not personally surprised. The main thing here of course is agreeing the fee with Shakhtar, who have rejected Arsenal's first offer worth €60 million, but Arsenal have responded. and as Fabrizio Romano confirms, they've improved their proposal to sign Mykhaylo Mudryk. It's now up to Shakhtar, and Chelsea also have interest in case the Arsenal deal collapses. But Arsenal remain the priority. Arsenal are pushing, they have made their second offer, and it's a big one. As Daniel Cuts confirms, the improved offer is now worth £62 million, and the Gunners are confident that they are close to securing a deal. £62 million will make Mudryk the most expensive player ever signed by Mikel Arteta. It's a crazy investment, but at the same time, context is very important, because as Fabrizio Romano confirms, Arsenal's new bid is only worth a guaranteed €50 million. That is the base fee of around £45 million of what Arsenal are offering. The rest is expensive, but it's all incentivized based add-ons. Things that will rely upon how good Mudryk is for Arsenal, how many games he plays, how many goals he scores, and that's what inflates the overall transfer fee. But are Shakhtar going to accept? Having publicly stated they wanted €100 million, but as Ben Jacobs says, the key to success is the structure, and Shakhtar want around €55 million up front. Arsenal have put forward a very enticing overall package, but it's down to the upfront fee. But this one looks like it's getting closer, and according to Mark Owen, Arsenal are confident that they will reach an agreement for Mudryk, and they are looking to wrap up the deal before Mudryk is due to travel to Turkey next week for the start of Shakhtar's mid-season training camp. There's confidence there, and I share that confidence, and the fact that we're only 2 days into the window and Arsenal have already made 2 offers, it shows their level of intent, and now it's all in the hands of Shakhtar. Are they going to accept? Moving on to Arsenal versus Newcastle. Arsenal's first game of 2023 at the Emirates Stadium, and it's gargantuan. Eddie Howe's Newcastle United have been on fire. They have won 5 out of the last 6 league games and haven't lost since August, but they are up against the league leaders, an Arsenal team that have won the last 5 league games in a row and have only lost once all season. A battle of 2 teams that are on fire, that are confident, that are flying. It's a game that is set up to be a great one, and there are some massive battles. Newcastle are a top defensive team, having conceded the least amount of goals. They've kept the most amount of clean sheets. An integral part of that defense is Kieran Trippier, who's also been on fire going forwards, having created the second most chances in the Premier League. He's also created the second most big chances, only behind Kevin De Bruyne. But up against an Arsenal team that has so many goal scoring threats, with our top goal scorers being Martinelli and Odegaard combined. Saka not far behind. And at the Emirates Stadium, Arsenal have won every single game this season. But surprisingly, we've only kept 1 clean sheet at the Emirates this season, and up against a Newcastle attack with informed players like Almiron, who has scored 9 goals, the threat on the counter-attack is there. But moving on to the team news, who's going to be available? Well, in terms of the opponents, Newcastle, they are still without important players like Matt Targett, John Joe Shelby, Emil Croft, and record signing Alexander Isak. Whereas in terms of Arsenal, no Reece Nelson or Gabriel Jesus. But in positive news, Jesus has confirmed that he no longer needs crutches. But then you have the potential return of Emil Smith-Rowe, who is confirmed back in training. And the fact that he's training and this game's at the Emirates Stadium, I wouldn't be surprised if Smith-Rowe is on the Arsenal bench, but at the same time, Arsenal might keep him for the even bigger games coming up against Spurs away and United. But how exactly is Mikel Arteta going to line up? I think it's going to be the standard 4-3-3 with the goalkeeper of Ramsdale, a back 4 of Ben White, Saliba, Gabriel and Zinchenko, a midfield 3 of Xhaka, Partey and Odegaard, and a front 3 of Martinelli, Nketiah and Saka. The exact same team that started against Brighton. There's not many debates there, even in terms of left back, Zinchenko over Tierney. Zinchenko's technical ability is just so good. He allows Arsenal to dominate games better, and up against a Newcastle team that will be very good defensively. As great as Tierney has been, Zinchenko is his #1 left back. But let's talk tactics. Mikel Arteta versus Eddie Howe, 2 of the best managers in the Premier League. One of Arsenal's biggest challenges is going to be going up against Newcastle's very intense press. They press in a 4-3-3, and these guys are very aggressive, and the likes of Almiron and Wilson have the pace to close you down and pounce on your mistakes. In many ways, this is Arsenal's hardest game of the season. Newcastle have been fantastic, and they are a team with confidence, and confidence can do crazy things, and the prime examples are Almiron and Joe Linton. But Newcastle only average around 50% possession. They're not a dominant team, but they do have a very good defensive block, and they have players to break stuff up, especially their main midfielder in Bruno Guimaraes. So in this game, I expect for Newcastle to sit back and try to hurt Arsenal in transition, and that's where the likes of Zinchenko and Partey are going to be very important. As we saw against Brighton, these are the guys in charge of stopping counter-attacks. Another key battle is going to be Gabriel Martinelli versus Kieran Trippier. Not in terms of going forwards, but in terms of defensively. 12 big chances created. Trippier is Newcastle's biggest creative threat, and for Martinelli it's going to be very important in terms of tracking back and making sure he marks Trippier properly. That being said, talk to me about your thoughts going into this game down below in the comments. Our first game at the Emirates Stadium of 2023, what do you guys expect, and most importantly, let me know your matchday predictions. But moving on to the other Arsenal news today. And starting off with Arsenal loanees, and specifically a player on loan at Marseille. Here you can see Nuno Tavares, who's just been sent off for Marseille, and yet he's seen taunting the opposition fans. Now thankfully Marseille won the game, but for Tavares to be doing that is not really ideal, especially after you've just been sent off. But in Liga you also have a shining follower in Balogun, who was at it once again for Reims, as they beat Rennes 3-1, and Balogun back to brace. That now means he has 10 league goals this season, and he also is the leading under-21 player, and he's also got the most goals out of any under-21 player in Europe's top 7 divisions. Balogun is shining, Balogun is growing, and as we saw last year with William Saliba, when these players get experience and they get confidence, they can come back to Arsenal and then have a massive impact. But talking of Arsenal youngsters shining, Bukayo Saka was the highest player in all of Europe in terms of chances created for under 21 players. But it gets even better, as in terms of goals plus assists for under 21 players, Saka was the highest provider in 2022. With the amount of other top youngsters that we have, I think sometimes us Arsenal fans forget how important and how special Mykhaylo Saka is. Now let's talk about Brentford, who have just beaten Liverpool 3-1, a team that have also beaten Man United 4-0, that have also drawn Spurs, that have beaten Man City, but a team that Arsenal beat comfortably 3-0. You look back at that game now and how dominant Arsenal were. You then see Brentford's results against the other top 6 teams. I think Arsenal deserve just a little bit more respect. But here's where things get crazier. If Arsenal are able to beat Newcastle, they will go 18 points clear of Liverpool, 21 clear of Chelsea, and 16 of Spurs, former Champions League finalist. A Chelsea team that is spending money off the money, and a Spurs team that was meant to be the dark horses for the title, and they are all getting left behind for Arsenal. But our main focus is now Newcastle. They are the bigger threat right now, and as always it's going to be a gargantuan game at the Emirates Stadium. But that's the video there and there, so hopefully you guys have enjoyed. If you have, don't forget to smash a like and also subscribe to the channel if you are new. If you want to follow your boy on all of his social medias, then the links are down below in the description. But that was the return episode of the Transfers FC, and Arsenal are making moves, things are happening, and stay tuned for further developments. I'll see you next time, take care of yourselves, and in a bit.